Hi, I'm Rusty Mace, and I'm going to be your guide on this virtual learning experience. And if you're like me, you're asking yourself one question. Why? Why do I need this? And I can answer that question 3 little words. Squirrel picnic tables. Yeah, here's the story. Okay, I'm a simple guy. I like passing my time sitting on the porch, watching the birds in the feeder, and I like feeding my squirrels. Well, one day I said to myself, what those squirrels need is a picnic table. Hey, I've got saws, I've got wood, I know how to drive a nail, I got measuring sticks. Let's go build a picnic table for my squirrels. Well, the results were, let's say, less than stellar. So what I did is I come inside, I jumped on the computer, and I searched out, and I found plans on how to build a picnic table. So I went back to the workshop, this time with plans in hand. And I cut, and I sawed, and I hammered, and this time the results were a lot better. And as you can see, now my squirrels have a true picnic area. You say, Rusty, what does that have to do with anything? Well, you know, like I said, I'm a simple guy. And like you, I have been the beneficiary and the victim of decisions that are being made in Raleigh that I felt like I had no control over, I had no voice in. As a matter of fact, my only plan was to scream at the TV. That's what I remembered. I'm a member of the North Carolina Retired Governmental Employees Association. We're 65,000 strong. We got tools. So I decided to call up. And I called Richard. And I said, Richard, buddy, we need to build a squirrel picnic table. He thought I'd lost my mind, but he knew what I meant. He knew that I did have tools, and I got skills. What I didn't have was the knowledge or the plan to put it all together. My daddy used to tell me, son, don't shoot off your mouth until you load your brains. And that's what we're doing here today. We're going to load our brains. So grab your mouse, sit back and relax, and let's go load our brains.
Hi, I'm Jessica Proctor, Lobbyist with the North Carolina Retired Governmental Employees Association, and welcome to our online advocacy training. Ask yourself, if advocacy is the answer, what is the question? Let's face it, we're living in an irrevocably changed world, one where doing business as usual is obsolete. But that doesn't mean that you and your role in advocating for what's important is obsolete. Your voice matters just as it did before the misfortunes of 2020. In fact, today it may matter even more. So again, if advocacy is the answer, what is the question? While advocacy is all about persuasion, helping shape people's opinions and actions regarding a particular issue, advocacy itself is a means to an end, and that end is to create positive change. In today's world, where public budgets are under pressure due to layered crises, advocating for yourself, an institution, group, or association isn't enough. You must have a clearly defined problem and know how to insert your advocacy efforts into the solution for that problem. Here are some thoughts as you begin your journey as a citizen advocate. There is no formal process in becoming an advocate. While we offer you guidelines and tools to help you in your role, your voice and concerns are the most important means you can have to advocate for your cause. And this isn't rocket science either. The very virtues and habits that you taught your children and teach your grandchildren apply when advocating. Using good manners with whom you speak, listening to concerns, engaging rather dictating conversations, and thanking those who took the time to talk. Prepare yourself with talking points, be honest. All these things will help you share a stronger message and build lasting relationships. Lastly, remember, Rome was not built in a day. Small wins paved the way to larger victories, but this could still take much longer than you would like. Advocates for Disabled Americans began organizing in the 1960s, but the Americans with Disabilities Act wasn't codified until 1990. Though we don't think your efforts will take decades, the pace of public policy is supposed to be impactful with long-lasting impacts and not mercurial or short-sighted.
Being a citizen advocate, so that's the goal. A lobbyist, ooh, there's a word that's got negative culture all around it, but don't give in to that negative stereotype. You know what? By the end of this course, not only are you going to know and like these lobbyists, there's a good chance you're going to be one too. Now look, this is a great team, but no team is better than their coach. So in my virtual classroom, let's introduce you to the team. First, it's the coach, Richard Rogers. He's the executive director of the North Carolina Retired Governmental Employees Association, and this guy, he's a scrapper. He's a fighter. He's good at what he does. And he's going to tell you about the governmental priorities and things like that a little bit later on. Now, he has assembled a group of lobbyists that is second to none. We're talking about some of the best in the business. Jack Kozor, also Jackson Kozor. We have got Kari Barsness and Jessica Proctor. Folks, this is the A-team, and they're going to teach you and give you the knowledge that you need so that you can be your own best citizen advocate.
Hi, I'm Richard Rogers, your Executive Director. I want to spend just a few minutes talking about advocacy and what it really means to me. I've had the pleasure, or maybe a better way to put this, is a challenge of working with the General Assembly for more than 25 years, advocating on environmental issues and land and water conservation. I've worked with the association for more than 5 years now, advocating on your behalf. Lobbying or advocacy begins with creating a relationship or rapport with your legislator or local elected official. Through that relationship, trust is gained. You must be honest in your communications to build trust. One key to building the relationship is listening. Understanding your elected officials and their positions on issues are critically important to being successful in your advocacy. Once you've established the relationship, there is the opportunity to educate and effectively inform legislators on issues of importance to you. So build that relationship and be an effective advocate.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever heard of something called Grassroots Lobby? You know what it is? Are you a part of it? Can you do it? Well, it is time for Kari to tell us all about Grassroots Lobbying.
As an actively engaged citizen of North Carolina, we encourage you to talk with your legislator to discuss any issues or concerns you have related to retirement. Further along in this presentation, you will find guidelines for writing your legislator, setting up meetings, and advice on how to approach your legislator to gain their trust so you can be an effective citizen advocate. Please note that during the pandemic, we are not encouraging face-to-face, in-person meetings with legislators. Grassroots lobbying is an incredibly powerful tool in advocacy. You may wonder why that is so important. While the association provides a solid foundation through our lobbying efforts, the local connection to legislators is critical to make the issue both personal and local. Grassroots lobbying is a constituent communicating with their elected official about concerns they have. Elected officials want your vote, therefore, they are very responsible to constituents' needs and concerns. As a member of the association, you fill an important role in ensuring that the association's legislative goals are achieved. Through our website on the Government Relations tab, we provide tools you need to contact your local and legislative members. You will also find helpful tips, including sample letters, to help you get started in advocating for retiree issues. Additionally, the association is always ready to help you in your advocacy role. So please contact us if you have any questions or concerns that you want to discuss. Also on the Government Relations tab, There are direct links to contact information for local and state elected officials, making it easy to find your representative. The association is here to help you determine who that is. Remember, regardless of the type of interaction, whether by phone, letter, email, or a face-to-face meeting, contacting elected officials is critical to achieving the association goals.
Hi, I'm Jack Kazort. The first year I worked in the General Assembly was 1971 as an intern for what is now the State Chamber of Commerce. Since then, I've worked with Governor Hunt, the court system, and with a variety of other entities such as this association. I have been an advocate for this association and its members for the last 23 years.
Technology. It's changing all the time. Some people think it's more difficult. Some people think it's getting simpler. But the truth of the matter is we have got to keep up to date, especially in these changing times. So, right now it is time for Jackson to tell us all the ways that we can stay informed.
Ways to keep informed. One is through us. Throughout the year, our organization, NCRGEA, sends out updates and alerts as the legislative session progresses. But remember, you cannot be updated if we do not have your email. So if you haven't done it yet, please shoot us an email at info@ncrgea.com so that we have all of your up-to-date contact information. And plus, we would also just love to hear from you. Another great way to stay informed is our NCRGEA website. Make sure that you go to the Government Relations tab to keep up with all the current updates and tools that you are going to need to contact your elected officials. Also, another great way in these modern times is in recent years, NCRGEA has made amazing steps forward in staying completely up to date in this ever-evolving world of social media. So please feel free to follow us on Facebook. We have a channel on YouTube and on Twitter.
What does advocacy mean to me? Hi, I'm Jessica Cosma Proctor, and I spend a lot of my working life looking for ways to improve retiree quality of living. I've had the great blessing of working to better the lives of North Carolinians, both inside the legislature and out, throughout most of my career. Working with the NCRGEA is no exception to this. Advocacy for me is one of the best words in the English language. Advocacy is so much more than lobbying. It's our human call to live out the golden rule. We advocate for our children and grandchildren. We advocate for our parents, our spouses, our neighbors, our friends. We advocate for those whom we don't even know, those lacking in voice or ability to advocate for themselves. We are all collectively called to advocate every single day to make our communities better. Lucky for me, I get paid to do this as well. As a public affairs professional, there is nothing better than to help champion a way to improve the lives of the people of North Carolina. Again, and I hope you agree with me, advocacy is indeed one of the best words in the English language. Thank you for letting me share this moment with you.
How many times have I heard, son, you got to get your priorities right? And that's good advice. And even here at the North Carolina Retired Governmental Employees Association, we've got to have our priorities right, especially when it comes to legislative matters. That's why right now Richard is going to take us through our legislative priorities.
I want to spend a couple minutes talking about our legislative priorities. Our legislative priorities are developed through our Government Relations Committee for each legislative biennium and then updated between the long and short sessions of that biennium. We are currently in the process of finalizing our 2021-2022 legislative priorities, and they will be made available in the new year on our website. I do want to give you a general overview of our priorities for the coming year. Protect retiree pension values. This is always our top priority. Attaining a COLA for retirees has been extremely challenging because the pension system has not produced investment gains for a COLA, which is how the system was designed. Also, the General Assembly has not elected to spend the $500 million it costs for a 1% COLA for state retirees. So we are also pursuing other ways to protect retiree pension values by reducing their tax liabilities. We'll provide more on this as we finalize our priorities. Our second priority is maintaining and strengthening the defined benefit plan for current and future state and local retirees. Our focus here is to ensure our defined benefit system remains viable over the long term, and there is no attempt to change the system to a defined contribution system. Our third priority is to provide an annually required contribution for the pension systems and the state health plan. These contributions are the base amounts of funds that are required to keep our pension system and state health plan well funded. These are critical for the long-term health of these plans. Our next two priorities are newer priorities for the association. The first is improve access to health care for retirees in rural and urban North Carolina. The next is to invest in retirees' quality of life through broadband expansion in rural North Carolina. These new efforts are to ensure our retirees maintain the ability to engage and receive proper health care and broadband as digital technology continues to emerge and virtual communications become the norm. Don't forget to go to our website under the Government Relations tab to view our 2021 legislative priorities.
Hi, I'm Kari Barsis, and I represent you at the North Carolina General Assembly. I started my advocacy career after working in several state agencies here in North Carolina. My first lobbying job was in state government. I was lucky enough to advocate for clean air, clean water, our state parks, and the North Carolina Zoo and aquariums. Advocacy, to me, is fighting for what I believe in. Government decisions affect our lives every day. I believe it is incumbent on each of us to advocate our government officials on issues most important to us, whether as a lobbying professional or as a citizen advocate. If we don't make our voices heard, we cannot expect things to change in a positive way. And as a member of the association, your role as a citizen advocate is crucial to help us achieve the association's legislative goals for you.
Okay, this guy, I love this guy. He makes me laugh. And we're talking about Jack Cozort, and he's going to talk to you about some kind of three-legged bar stool thing, and well, Jack will tell you about it.
Many things have changed over the years, but one thing has not, and that is what it takes to be a successful advocate. Success there is like a three-legged stool. You must have trust, credibility, and hard work. If any one of the three is lacking, the stool falls. Being a successful advocate for this association requires those three things.
My name is Jackson Cozort, and I have the amazing honor of being a part of the lobbying team here at NCRGEA. I've been lobbying for about 7 or 8 years now. I represent this wonderful organization as well as many local municipalities, and I've worked with some teachers and some education in my past, and I've really enjoyed advocacy and lobbying for as long as I've done it. I find it interesting and absolutely amazing, and one of my most favorite parts about all of this is just the relationships that we can build with not only the citizens but also the elected officials. And one of my favorite things about advocacy in general, and why I believe it's so important, is because it really bridges the gap, in my opinion, in between the elected official and the actual citizens themselves. So I challenge you all to stay informed, stay active, and I really appreciate having this opportunity to speak with you guys.
Hey, Tut, good boy. There's a good relationship right there. You know, and having good relationships are important, especially when you're trying to convince somebody to see your point of view. And that's why right now it's time to put Richard back into the batter's box and let him tell us about governmental relations.
Hi, I'm Richard Rogers, your Executive Director. I want to talk to you a little bit about our government relations activities. Government relations oversees all the association activities related to the General Assembly, the Office of the Governor, the Treasurer's Office, the Elders and Teachers Pension Plan, the State Health Plan, and their boards of trustees. We also work to maintain and grow our relationship with the North Carolina League of Municipalities and the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. Our Government Relations Committee provides oversight of these activities. The committee consists of board members, former legislators, as well as association members with lobbying experience. This committee is responsible for developing our legislative priorities. It provides feedback and advice to lobbyists during the legislative session and oversees all activities related to the association's work with state agencies, local governments, the pension systems, and the state health plan. A local government committee has been established to specifically address the challenges of elders are facing regarding the lack of any type of bonus or cost of living over the past 12 years. The staff working on our government relation efforts consist of 4 part-time lobbyists and the executive director, which is me. Our team represents the associations in committee hearings at the General Assembly, at board meetings of the elders and teasers and state health plan. Our work includes regular communication with the governor's office, treasurer's office regarding legislation and policy matters related to retirees. Staff work daily with legislators promoting our priorities when the legislature is in session. They review dozens of bills and assess the impact on retirees and then strategize on how best to represent our interests to members of the legislature, legislative staff, and other associations engaged in our issues. Some examples of these associations are the State Employees Association of North Carolina, North Carolina Retired School Personnel, and AARP. These efforts include much work in stopping bad legislation as promoting the priorities of the association. As you can see, our government relations covers a lot of ground. The workload is extensive. With support from a dedicated government relations committee, the association's advocacy efforts extend far and wide, representing our members.
Well, according to our hologram board, which really isn't there, up next we got Jackson Kozor, and he's going to tell us what we need to know about who we need to get in touch with and how to get in touch with them.
Contacting your legislator is one of the most important parts of citizen advocacy. The North Carolina General Assembly website has multiple ways in which you can contact your elected official. During this pandemic, the most effective way to contact your legislator is through phone or email. Each elected official has a legislative assistant who will be there to receive your calls and emails and are great tools to use as you are building your relationship with your legislator. Also, do not be intimidated. These elected officials work for you and, believe it or not, really enjoy hearing directly from their constituents. There are going to be certain times throughout a legislative session where our organization, NCRGEA, will have something that we have coined a call to action. That is where we will ask you, the citizen advocate, to email and call specific legislators as we deal with a very specific issue or bill. So once again, it is very important that we have your email because you can't receive our call to action if we cannot reach you. But thank you so much for your time and for being such a great advocate for the North Carolina Retired Government Employees Association.
The North Carolina Governmental Retiree Bill of Rights. Did you even know there was such a thing? Well, there is. And right now, here he is, the man, the myth himself, Jack. He's going to tell us all about this Bill of Rights.
There are 2 benefits in the retirement program for state and local government retirees in North Carolina that are absolutely essential to providing a suitable quality of life. These benefits are so crucial that we like to refer to them as the Government Retirees Bill of Rights. The first is proper funding of a state health plan that provides a level of health care that reflects the years of service given by the retiree and the commitment made to the retiree by the government. With increasing health care and medical costs, this plan must be properly funded. The second and equally important right is the defined benefit pension plan, the promise that the retiree will receive a specified pension payment based on a formula that recognizes earnings history, years of service, and age. It is also important that the pension plan include a mechanism for periodic increases to reflect rises in the cost of living. No advocacy effort can be considered sufficient unless it includes significant attention to the Government Retirees Bill of Rights, a properly funded state health plan, and a properly funded defined benefit pension plan with periodic increases.
I'm Richard Rogers, Executive Director of the North Carolina Retired Governmental Employees Association. As we begin a new year, let us remember that our voices do indeed matter, both for our own causes and convictions, as well as those of our neighbors. As you've seen through our advocacy manual, effective advocacy is built on 3 pillars: relationships, education, and communication. The relationships we make with legislators, our elected officials, and other influencers should be viewed for long-term effect with short-term success along the way. Educating our decision makers and ourselves about our advocacy goals is key to building effective relationships and sharing an honest, impactful message. Lastly, communications is crucial. From a positive Facebook comment to a handwritten letter or Zoom meeting, the more presence you have, the more influence you'll also have. On behalf of our board of directors, as well as our 65,000 members, thank you for participating in our online advocacy forum. We value you for your past public service and look forward to working with you and for you. On behalf of the association, I'd like to thank House Speaker Tim Moore and Communications Director Joseph Kaiser for allowing us to use the House chambers for filming this part of our advocacy manual.